Today we're talking about 5.6, the quadratic formula. You need to memorize this formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. The quadratic formula is used to find the zeros, the roots, and the solutions of an equation. So example 1, find the zeros. So remember I said earlier that if it's a zeros, you need to replace this with 0. So we have to have 0 on one side and everything else must be on the other. You need to be able to identify your A, your B, and your C. So from here, your A is your first number, so that is A, is a 1. Your B is 10, and your C is 2. And then you plug them into this formula. So if we have X equals negative B, so B is 10, so negative 10 plus or minus the square root B squared, so 10 squared, minus 4 times A, which is 1, times C, which is 2. All of this, the entire thing, is going to be divided by 2 times A, and A is 1 again. So now we need to simplify this. So we can't simplify our negative 10, so X equals negative 10 plus or minus. I am literally just going to plug all of this in a calculator here. So 10 squared minus 4 times 1 times 2. So square root of 92. Divide that by 2 times 1 is 2. Okay? I'm going to simplify that even more. Okay, we have the 92. The 92 can be done with a tree, so we're going to come over here and do our 92. 92 divided by 2 is 46. 46 divided by 2 is 23. So we've got a pair of 2's because 23 can't be done anymore. And instead of 23. So negative X equals negative 10 plus or minus the 2 square root 23 all over 2. So now, we actually have one more step we can do. We need to see if this 2 can go into either one of these. It's kind of like a heart. So negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5, plus or minus. 2 goes into 2. We're not going to look at this 23. It's going to stay. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Write the 1, don't write the 1. It doesn't matter. Square root of 23. And this is our answer right here. Let's try B. Same thing. We need a 0 on one side. That's 0. X squared plus 3x minus 7. Identify your A, your B, and your C. Our A is the first number, it's a 1. B is the middle number, it's a 3. And C is the negative 7. Plug them in to our formula. So X equals negative B, so negative 3 plus or minus the square root B squared, so 3 squared, minus 4 times A, which is 1, times C, which is negative 7, all over 2 times our A is 1. Now these two problems happen to have a 1 as A. It will not always be like that. So let's bring this down. X equals negative 3 plus or minus. Once again, plug that in a calculator. So 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 7 is 37. So square root of 37 divided by 2 times 1 is 2. Now, this one, that 37 can't be broken down. 2 doesn't go into 3. So this one has actually less steps to do, but it is done right there. C. Same thing. We're going to set this equal to 0. 2x squared minus x plus 2. Identify your A, B, and C. Okay, so your A is 2. B is the negative 1. And C is 2. Plug them in. X equals negative B, so negative 1 plus or minus b squared is negative 1. So I need this in parentheses, otherwise my calculator won't like it. Minus 4 times a times c. It's divided by 2 times a, which is 2. So negative negative is a positive. Plug this in my calculator. So negative 1 squared minus 4 times 2 times 2 is a negative 15. Divided by 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so let's see, can we break this down? Well, we can't break down the 15, but there's a negative. We learned that we have to have that, make that into a complex number. So x equals 1 plus or minus. That negative becomes the I square root of 15. If we could break down 15, we would, but we can't. Over 4. Since 4 doesn't go into I or 1, that is our answer right there. Okay. D. Remember, first step, set it equal to 0. Second step, identify your A, B, and C. A is 3, B is negative 1, C is 8. Plug them in. X equals negative 1 plus or minus the square root. B is negative 1 again. Minus 4 times A is 3. C is 8. All of this over 2 times A is 3. So negative negative 1 is 1 plus or minus. Plugging this in a calculator. Minus 4 times 3 times 8. Square root of negative 95. Okay? Over 6. 95 is a big number. I'm going to see if I can break it down. So I'm going to come to the side. 95. If I divide it by 5, I get 19. They're both single number, or both prime, so I can't break it down, so I'm going to leave it just like this. However, there's a negative. That negative needs to come out as an I. So x equals 1 plus or minus I square root of 95 over 6. Here are 2 problems for you to try.